Hello everyone, today I want to show you how I made this prop gun so that you can make one of your own design, so let's jump right into the video. So the first thing I did when designing my weapon was pull up a bunch of reference images and find ones that had components that I really liked, and then look at the related images until I found 4 or 5 that really looked like what I wanted mine to end up like. After I had a good idea about what I wanted it to look like, I did a couple of drafts of the gun from the side, the top, and the front to really get a three-dimensional feeling for it. This was the last one. Then I just needed to copy the outline of the design onto some MDF and make a couple of cutouts of where I wanted it to be thicker. You can see that the MDF I'm using here is pretty thin, so I had to do a cutout for each side of my weapon, but that was fine because I was going to end up doing a lot of sanding later. So I took the MDF over to a bandsaw and I cut out everything I needed along with 2 circles to be kind of the barrel of the gun. So I took my excess pieces and glued them on with some wood glue and let it dry for quite a while. You can still see the seams here, but that's okay. It won't be visible anymore once it's painted. And then it was just a lot of sanding. And I eventually got it down to the shape that I wanted. For this nice rounded part here, I dug a can out of the recycling and used some tin snips to cut it in half, then fold it over and just glued that to the 2 circular pieces I cut out before. And I cut notches out of them so that I could slip it over the center of the gun, which is still that single piece of MDF. And so then I could store the batteries inside this circular thing because I intended to put lights all around the outside of it. So in my design, I had a sword off the top of my gun, and that was really simple. All I had to do was go to the Halloween store. Then I just broke off the handle of it, and now I just need to trim down the weird end of it on a belt sander, and then it's going to look perfectly fine. So all that was really left for me to do was paint it. My teacher didn't want us using metallic paints, even though I think that would have made it look a lot more realistic. So I ended up using the Benjamin Moore 2017 color of the year, which was Shadow. And I have a paint swatch here because I couldn't really picture what it would look like. And so then I also went and I picked up some nail polish in a slightly lighter color to make it look really worn and kind of dry brush it. I also picked up some really cheap electrical tape to wrap the handle in because I thought it would give it a nice padded grip and look more realistic. And I also picked up some primer just so that I wouldn't have any weird changes in coloration between the woods. So when I wrapped the handle in electrical tape the first time, it really didn't look the way I wanted it to, so I ended up undoing that and really focusing on wrapping it around where the lights were going to be attached. And so these last 2 pictures are just what it ended up looking like. I think it turned out pretty well, not as realistic as I would have liked, but good for a first attempt.